So Caleb yelled at me today. I just want to let everybody know that.
Really?
About time.
Do that on the podcast.
Yeah, you have no idea this came from Caleb. I ring the doorbell, I hear the dog. You know, and I'm like, okay, all right, dogs. He's got to get the dog under control. I'm sitting there looking. Standing at the door. No opening of the garage. No nothing. I go, Caleb, what's going on there? He's like, I'm coming! Just hold on!
Wow.
She said, do you come from a land down under?
Welcome to another edition of the Bible Believers Podcast. This is the show for truth seekers, defenders of biblical faith, and we are now going to delve into the realm of the conspiracy theories. You know, because we've got the takeover of the New World Order happening in the land down under. New South Wales official, she's the chief health official, Dr. Carrie Chant. You guys, have you seen the video of this woman? And I guess this is a couple times where she has referenced this new world in which we're going to live in as the New World Order, which of course was, I don't want to say it was initiated by George Herbert Walker Bush, but Daddy Bush. Yeah. He did mention it.
A couple of times.
Yeah, right. Yep. So this is something that, I believe that has been in the works for a lot of years. But I want to insert, just so the viewer can see, this is Dr. Carrie Chant and her referencing the New World Order.
Will exposure sites be put back in place, especially with reopening and people going back to pubs and stuff? Because our exposure sites still, will they be put back in place to be listed once we are reopening? Because they're not at the moment.
We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the New World Order. And yes, it will be pubs and clubs and other things if we have a positive case there. Our response may be different if we know that people are fully vaccinated. So we're working through a number of those issues, but we will have to reflect.
Okay, so that's that, right? Mm-hmm. She said it flat out that I guess the world in which we live under mandates regarding a cold virus is considered the New World Order. That's probably the New World Order for you peasants.
Right.
The New World Order for them is going to be a totally different. And in fact, let me just bring this up. I don't watch any of this stuff, but I saw the news. Emmys? Something was last night?
Yeah, the Emmys were last night.
Was it Emmys?
Yeah, I saw.
All right.
Does anybody watch it anymore?
I'm sure.
It's mentioned in the news, and of course, I turned on Fox News this morning to take a peek. When Fox isn't lying to me, because they lie now too, a lot. But the Emmys, some award for a bunch of rich snobs who pretend to be someone that they're not for a living. Yeah. They're almost like politicians, only they make more money. Yeah. And speak for the politicians. But they all gathered together, they did their show, and they were just all, thousands of rich elites, no masks, no social distancing. I got to stop using their terms. Unsocial distancing.
Yeah.
Oh. Because it isn't social
right,
if it's distant.
Right.
Anyhow, it's one of the way to fight back, honestly. As a side note, this is a war of words. It's a war of philosophy. It's a war of spirituality. And I'm going to talk about this actually in a sermon coming up, which will be passed this time.
It's kind of like using the term vaccine. I keep catching myself and saying, no, the shot, right, the jab.
Right.
Though I think they changed the definition now to make it match up, but before that, it didn't match the definition. Kind of when we were talking about magazines, gun magazines, saying, I almost said, maybe something like this, a 15-rounder would be illegal in New York, right? But no, it's not illegal. Yeah.
It's just not New York compliant.
Right.
The laws that New York have are illegal. Yeah. That said, this is kind of what we're talking about here, though, right? So let's delve into a little bit of Australia's history, because it's a unique history, and I have, I guess maybe some thoughts on maybe conspiratorial, maybe spiritual. Maybe I'm wrong, and you guys are going to look at me cross-eyed, bug-eyed, and go, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know how long you can call it conspiracy when it's all over. You mentioned the Emmys. You think about the entertainment industry. I mean, you think about, just for example, the one eye thing. How many pictures do we need to see of celebrities covering their one eye?
Yeah, doing this thing.
The New World Order. You might be a little aged for this, but Joe and I would know Eminem had that in a song as we move toward a New World Order. So,
is that right?
Yeah. And you would think that would be the. I thought he spoke against.
My group would be.
I thought he
just to Babylon.
I thought he spoke against the machine, right? But they're actually promoting the machine.
You know what's interesting now that you bring up music? Again, this is a side thought, but on Facebook, they're now banning. There are a few musicians that are writing anti-lockdown songs.
I heard about this.
They're banning them. We live in the day and an age in which those people who partook in Woodstock are now saying your Joan Baez's are not allowed. Right. The point being, CSN, anti-war songs.
Yeah.
There's something happening here. Buffalo Springfield. It's an not Crosby. I mentioned that Crosby.
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Creedence Clearwater. Fortunate Son.
Yep.
I ain't no military son, right?
Good point.
All these, but they were constant. Now you're living in a day and an age where the elites that used to protest with those guys are actually keeping protesters from being able to sing songs.
Yeah, and then you fast forward to our generation, Rage Against the Machine.
Oh,
they're now promoting the machine. They promote all the left-wing crazy.
Because it's a spiritual agenda.
Yeah.
Because if you're in the music scene and you're going against the norm, well, then they're just going to kick you out because there's something bigger behind it.
There are a few, though, that have come against it. I mean, Eric Clapton has come against it. And then as far as entertainers, Jim Brewer, comedian, has said he's not going to play at places that are requiring the jab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who's the other guy that did it too?
I was just thinking.
A brown-eyed girl. Who is that?
Van Morrison?
Van Morrison.
Yeah,
he did. And of course, everybody's tearing apart their music. Eric Clapton's lost his slow hand. Van Morrison can't sing anymore. They're just mocking them, right? Because they're going against the grain.
When you don't have an argument, you attack the person. That's what they said about Jim Brewer. They said, "Oh well, how many people go to his show anyway? Thousands." He's actually still quite popular as a comedian.
Right.
And there are these people who are less popular saying, he's irrelevant anyway. Yeah, just because he's not toting the company line.
That's it. Yeah. All right, so let's talk Australian history. Can we do that? So this is it is an interesting history. Now, I can't speak any more than I could speak even to Native American history in America. I don't know because I'm not Native American, so I don't have the ancestral history that they might have had that they passed down through folklore, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know Aboriginal history. As far as the white man being in Australia, what do we have? Well, we have England, of course, is England occupied territory. Mm-hmm. And do you guys know the history? What they did? So basically, when the population grew, New South Wales was a penal colony established in 1788. So it means it was basically a whole section of the country that they said, this is where we're going to put all of our prisoners. And their prisoners were people that were just excessive as their population began to boom. Of course, criminals, people that disagreed with them politically, they moved them over to New South Wales. So imagine now a prison not run from a building, but actually run from a continent. That's Australia.
That's insane. I mean, actually, that happened to Sicily. Sicily was the same thing. It was a prison for...
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, hundreds of years, basically.
That's how it was, really?
Yeah. That's why I got some issues.
I can't bring any Italian things up as much as I want to make Italian jokes.
So the whole continent was a prison?
Well, in particular, the state known as New South Wales.
Oh, okay.
That was the area.
Okay.
The continent's pretty big. We could talk about the size. I'm actually going to get into a little bit of the geography of Australia. We'll get there when we get there. So here's what I believe. I believe that lessons not learned from history tend to repeat themselves. And most anybody that is a student of history sees the repetitive nature of history. And maybe what you have in in history is a warning of something to come.
Sure.
Let me give you a for instance. So what happened in the 1930s and 40s in Hitler's Germany, and we've talked about this on other podcasts, you've got a man there ruling like a tyrant, committing a Holocaust against the Jewish population, anti-God, pro-evolution.
Sure.
Though he was a good Catholic because the Catholic Church endorsed him.
Steeped in the occult.
Steeped in the occult. I got some creepy stories about Hitler, I'll tell you, maybe some other time. But so what does that end up being a picture of for us? What happens on a national level in history will happen on a global level in history. It won't be the man by the name of Hitler. I don't know by what name he'll go.
Right.
Maybe Emmanuel Macron.
Right.
I don't know. Certainly, that we've got some stuff to say about him as well again. But so we've got this picture of what happened historically as to what is going to happen in future, what will be one day history.
Yeah.
Right now it's future, so it's prophecy.
Yeah,
but eventually
amen.
It's history.
Right.
And what if what's happening in Australia now, and we'll talk about the details of what's happening there, what if it's a snapshot of the tyranny that is going to take place on a global stage?
Absolutely.
And we talk a lot about Revelation.
Right.
We talk about the end times.
Right.
It's a little petri dish, a little test.
Yeah.
Let's experiment.
The prototype
Yeah.
of the New World Order.
Right, and I would even say that whole area, and I know we'll probably get to it, but China, we were talking before the show, China and Myanmar, China has their own camps, if you will, for people that are testing positive. So, I mean, it's not just Australia.
China's had camps for everything.
Well, yeah, right.
I think
but it's creeping all over.
What Australia needs is Matthew Quigley to roll in.
In our experience, Americans are uncouth misfits who've been run out of their own barbaric country.
Well, Lieutenant.
Major?
Major. We already run the misfits out of our country. We sent them back to England.
Run all the misfits out of the country.
Help me know. Who's Matthew
Is
Quigley?
he the...
Tom Selleck, Quigley Down Under.
Yeah, okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
This is a famous movie quote.
That didn't just go over my head. It went over my hat. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a good Western movie.
A Western movie?
Okay, I thought you were talking about Crocodile Dundee.
Quigley Down Under.
Quigley Down Under. And was he down under?
Yes, he was.
He was. It was
American.
Tom Selleck?
He was Tom
Selleck's pretty cool, I gotta admit. Or he was.
An American
Mustache.
cowboy that went over to take a job in Australia, and I won't go through the whole thing, but a pretty cool movie.
But there's an endorsement of a movie. Now, if it's got all cussing in it, you've got Bible
there you
Christians.
You know what? I can't condone it for that. I don't remember. There's probably some inappropriate things in it, so I'm not going to condone it or recommend it.
All right, so the reality is, and I put the video up, Dr. Chant said what she said. She said the New World Order.
And she's their Fauci.
She is their Fauci.
She's their Fauci. Yeah. Just to be clear for viewers if they're not familiar with her. Yeah.
She's not quite as ugly.
Right.
Health tyranny.
Yeah. Well,
it's close. Close second.
Yeah. But just so the people know, she's their health advisor.
I think she's taller.
Yeah, and she's been there for a long time, right? She's been the health advisor.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what, But I want to ask this question. Did she misspeak?
No.
Only in the sense that she probably wasn't supposed to say the quiet parts out loud.
Well, why say it twice?
I don't think they're afraid of that.
Didn't she say it twice?
They probably don't care anymore.
She's not the first person to say it. I think it is becoming more common. If I'm not mistaken, I think Trudeau has referenced it as well.
I'm not sure.
I know they keep talking about the Great Reset.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, even
which
guys
would be the New World Order.
Oh, sure, but I mean, even guys like Como back in April of 2020, things will never be the same. Things will never be the same again. I mean, they were saying that
our new normal.
Our new normal, that was the term.
Build back better.
Build back better, all that. But that started in March and April. So it's been there.
Yeah. So when it comes to this woman, then again, so did she misspeak? No. But already people are having a hard time with it. They're saying things like, oh no, here come all the conspiracy theories. Like, this is literally, I've got a quote from a Twitter person who posted this woman's video and then responded, oh no, Dr. Chant just said, quote, New World Order, end quote. We'll be seeing that popping up in silly conspiracy videos. It's kind of like you said. I mean, at what point do we stop saying these are conspiracy theories and just say, no, there's a conspiracy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what started World War I? The conspiracy to murder Francis Ferdinand and the success thereof, but it was a conspiracy. What is a conspiracy? It's to conspire. Whatever.
And the theory is only a theory until it's proven true.
Yeah, then it's not a theory anymore.
Yeah.
If she said, this is going to be our new normal in the New World Order, then why is it that there are people who instantly go up, well, how conspiratorial, we're going to get some tinfoil hat wearing people.
No, she just said that.
How are they not
they've
seeing
been conditioned to think that way.
So they can't think for themselves.
Yeah.
Well, that's
where we're at. Yeah, I mean,
This is slightly off topic, except in the extent that people are conditioned to think a certain way. I mentioned something about the false news that there were 70,000 calls, or 70% of the calls to poison control in a certain state were people overdosing on ivermectin. The actual number was 1.4%, and of the 1.4, it was 70%. Anyhow, so that's the backstory. And I made mention to that to somebody. I won't mention who it is. I don't know if they watch this or not.
Probably not.
And they probably don't. I mentioned this to somebody, and I mentioned the ivermectin thing, and he laughed and said, oh, they must have listened to Joe Rogan. And I said, hold on, how's Joe Rogan doing?
Right. He's
2
alive
days and he's good to go. And I mentioned the UFC fighter that's double vaccinated in the hospital going, oh, I'm dying. He wasn't dying, but he was feeling like garbage. And I said, I asked him, I said, why was your first instinct to laugh?
Sure. Right.
And I said, is it because you're being conditioned by the media to think it's laughable?
Yeah.
And
horse medicine.
Horse medicine. No, it's been used for humans for the last 25, 30 years.
Now, was it CNN reporting this? MSNBC?
It was
I thought CNN had done
Rolling Stone did a story on it. And then,
I mean the anti-Joe Rogan stuff.
Oh, I think CNN probably.
Because I heard Joe Rogan, I actually listened to him say, what do I got to sue? And I think he said CNN instead of...
really?
What do I got to sue? Do I got to sue them? Because he said they're just flat out lying about what I said that I took. I did not take...
He didn't run a
horse train, whatever. Yeah. Right. He took, they were pills. It was ivermectin for humans. I mean, that exists. And it has existed for decades.
25, 30 years at least.
And
it's been used on humans during that time.
He took
Z-Pak.
And hydrochloroquine, I believe, too.
I don't know about that.
That's why
I thought he mentioned
hydrochloroquine and ivermectin are what India is using, and India seems to be having their cases under control now. They were looking really bad for a while.
By the way, I'm going to do this, and this will be part of the show, but I also, if it's not part of the show, it'll come as a lone segment. I told you I need to do this, or I told you, somebody. No, I told Caleb about it right up here.
Someone.
If this is all you're seeing on this video is me talking to you right now, that's because YouTube will not let us speak freely. And so then there will be a link below to our Rumble account where you can watch the totality of the video. There. I just got to do that now because, I mean, we're in a world where I don't know, hey, is this going to make it or is this not going to make it? Let me throw this out there as well. So our recent video on the 10 wokeisms we did when we got down to believe the science, that's partially blocked.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, it came back partially blocked. People in Japan are not allowed to watch it. That's where it got blocked.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was going to mention to
our huge Japanese audience.
Yeah, I know. 0 viewers.
That's the point, though.
Guaranteed.
Right.
But I was going to mention to you the other day, I feel like on YouTube, I'm seeing more and more titles that we thought were, oh man, they would take this down. Is it a couple 100,000 views? Is it all about views? How are they getting them up there? I'm seeing things straight up. Jab or this or that, and
it might be based on what they say about it.
I don't know.
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. And there was a panel of 3 scientists talking about how the jab shot, whatever you want to call it, is a cytotoxin, don't take it, and had 300,000 views. So it's up there. I don't know.
And YouTube, that is not us saying that.
Yeah.
In case you're monitoring.
Yeah.
That is him quoting another YouTube video or referencing another YouTube video that did say that you did not pull down. Just saying.
Yeah, just confused by that. I was going to ask you if you heard anything. Have they?
I have seen more and more videos that I did not expect to see.
Yeah.
I will say the one that is now escaping their algorithms, because for a while I was getting tons of those videos and I would watch them. There's a number of people that are reporting on the audits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of those now.
Nothing.
Yeah, I haven't seen
They're
that in a while.
burying them if they haven't pulled the actual pages down. I have to go back.
Well, we don't need to get onto that. That's way off topic.
Yeah, that's way off topic.
Yeah.
So let's
I was
talk
about to go,
that.
but
You were about to what?
I was about to go, but then I stopped myself because I'm like, no, that we're going to go down a bunny hole. And
Well, this right. We have how many. We don't have any idea as to how many. How many weeks this will break down to.
Right.
We're just going to talk and we'll edit it down and you'll get part 1, part 2, part 3, however it goes.
Yeah.